So, you need help?
Scarlet Nexus may be a single-player game, but cooperation with your party members is vital to your success. Each party member has a different power you can borrow during battle with the SAS system, and with 2 playable characters and the quick pace of combat, they can all get a bit overwhelming to keep track of. So we've compiled some info on how these powers work, and what to expect as you level them through bond events. Let's get started. While playing as Yuito or Kasane, their Psychokinesis manipulates objects around you with the right trigger, and sends them hurtling towards nearby enemies. Mixing up your weapon strikes and Psychokinesis with follow-up attacks not only does great damage, but more importantly, it's often the best way to reduce an enemy's crush gauge, leaving them open to a brain crush. You can also perform special object attacks by holding the left trigger, which will usually give you a follow-up quick time event to both inflict major damage and, often, an environmental status effect such as soaked or oil. Keep in mind that you'll need to have a special object in close proximity for this attack to work.
Watch out! Let's keep this up!
When playing as Yuito or Kasane and using the other character's power through SAS, activating their Psychokinesis causes your Psychokinesis attacks to not diminish the PK gauge. You can also hold both triggers to use a Psychokinesis field to attack an enemy with every item in your area at once. Increasing his or her bond level increases the size of your Psychokinesis field. Take care though that this takes quite a while to charge, so be sure to use it when an enemy is downed, or you have another ability that can help you out, like Arashi's Hypervelocity, which gives you Hypervelocity. Basically, you move so quickly that it seems to slow down enemies, but you'll return to normal speed if you take damage. This ability is necessary to damage enemies that are fast enough to leave an afterimage, as you can't hit them using normal means. This is a very powerful ability, but it doesn't last for very long, so make sure that you maximize its value every time you activate it. Kyoko's Duplication creates a copy of your Psychokinesis object and makes breaking shells with Psychokinesis easier. As you increase the bond level, you can create more copies of yourself as well. In addition to breaking shells, Duplication also makes depleting an enemy's crush gauge much easier, since you're getting multiple psychokinetic tosses for the price of one. Use Duplication whenever you've got an enemy down or stunned to maximize the amount of damage you're able to do in a short time.
Let's keep going.
Shiden's Electrokinesis applies electricity damage to weapon attacks and Psychokinesis. It also increases the range of your weapon attacks with a shockwave. But perhaps its most important use is that it can inflict the shocked status, which knocks down and immobilizes enemies. Like Hanabi's Pyrokinesis, which we'll talk about in just a bit, leveling up Electrokinesis gives you access to new moves, like this charge attack for Yuito, or this big AoE attack for Kasane. Also note that enemies that are soaked are much easier to shock, so look out for special objects you can use with the left trigger.
Know what to do.
Kagura's invisibility hides your party from enemies, and also gives you access to a backstab that does major crush damage, which makes it a great way to open encounters. It's also a great way to exit encounters and buy yourself some time to either heal, resurrect a party member, or just get out of a bad spot. Leveling your bond with Kagura increases the time you can be invisible, as well as gives you a chance to stay invisible after attacking. At level 6, it may automatically activate invisibility when you have low health. Hanabi's Pyrokinesis cloaks both your weapon and your Psychokinesis objects in flame, basically like the fire version of Shiden's Electrokinesis. This increases damage, the area of effect of combo attacks, and applies the burn effect. Increasing your bond level with Hanabi actually gives you new moves like Flame Pillar and Explosion, which deal a huge amount of AoE damage. But, also similar to Electrokinesis, its most important use is to inflict burn, so keep a lookout for special object attacks that can cause the oil status, as enemies will then burn more quickly. Tsugumi's Clairvoyance might not seem like the most immediately useful ability, but it's actually one of the most important powers in the game. It allows you to see through obstructions such as heavy fog, see invisible enemies, and makes perfect dodging easier, allowing you to follow up with a highly damaging weapon strike. Further leveling this power will let you break shells in one hit, knock an enemy prone after perfect dodging, and deplete crush gauges much faster while ensuring that enemies will always drop items upon defeat.
Whoa! Nice!
If you're good at timing perfect dodges, Clairvoyance is an extremely powerful tool to quickly bring down tough enemies with slower and easier to dodge attacks. Gemma's Sclerokinesis shields you from damage, with every hit you take reducing the duration of its effect instead of your health. Leveling this power to level 5 will allow Sclerokinesis to sometimes activate automatically, and this chance increases when Gemma is in your party. Look out for giant AoE attacks, as being able to withstand those while standing in them gives you an opportunity to attack an enemy uninterrupted. You can also use Sclerokinesis to go for powerful environmental interactables that take a long time to charge up risk-free. Luca's Teleportation turns your dash into a teleport, allowing you to phase through enemies and even some walls. You can also attack at an increased range, as pressing the weapon attack button will teleport you to an enemy and attack rather than having to run up to do it. This allows you to defeat certain enemies like base paws that cover their weak points if you just try to approach normally. After getting your bond to level 6, you can even charge an attack before teleporting to an enemy and striking.
There's nowhere to run.
Now before we wrap up, here are 2 quick notes that apply to all the powers. Once you unlock a particular node on the brain map, defeating an enemy with a brain crush while a power is active will keep that power from draining quite as fast. Also, you can use powers from characters that aren't currently in your party, but they will have a shorter duration and less recovery speed if they're on the sidelines. And that's it! Scarlet Nexus undoubtedly has a unique combat system, and once I truly got the hang of it a few hours in, I began to really enjoy it. I mean, look at this!
It used to be. There also used to be a city here that traded.
Have any other tips for someone picking up the game? Make sure to drop them down below in the comments, and while you're here, check out our review of Scarlet Nexus. For everything else gaming, you're already in the right place. IGN.